Oh, the Thunder Dragon channel returns. Well, I guess you can probably tell what I'm about to do, considering you read the title. But before I get into that, I might as well tell you what's been going on. Alright, so this week is actually my finals week. The week before that, I got 2 new kittens, and the week before that, I was sick as a dog. And this week I also just got my, in some lighter news, I actually just got done taking both the tests for becoming a Konami judge. So hopefully within the next few weeks I will be registered. So yeah, a few people at my locals actually asked me, Bryce, can you do a combo video for Thunder Dragons, kind of like you did with Cosmo a few weeks back? Well, I guess now it's more like a couple months back, but anyway, I said, sure, why not? I've been doing Thunder Dragons for a long time, so I might as well give you some of the basics. So those guys at locals, you guys know exactly who you are, and shout out to you. Let's get right into the basics. So the first basic combo you're gonna need to know is Solar and Hawk. It's real basic. It's just it's real easy to figure out. Plus, this Hawk can be one of 5 cards in your deck, so it's really simple, and it gives you triple Colossus, which is like the most optimal board for most situations outside of going against Orchest. So how does it work? So first off, you're gonna normal summon Solar. Preferably, if you're going against Orchest, you're putting him in the left EMZ, meaning you are putting him to the left underneath the extra monster zone. This way you avoid the shenanigans with like Long Yirsu being able to out your board, so your opponent isn't as easily going to out 3 Colossus as they would if it was on the right zone, because of how Long Yirsu works. They have to commit to Galatea in the extra, outside of the extra monster zone before they would be able to send it with the Long Yirsu. Anyway. How this combo works, you normal summon Solar and activate its effect. It will send a Thunder Dragon Roar from the main deck to the graveyard. You will then activate the Hawk, or Monster Reborn, or Goldsark. Monster Reborn would target the Roar. The only difference between this and Monster Reborn is that this counts as a discard, where if you go further in the combo, when you summon Dark and link it off, or excuse me, fuse it off for Colossus, you'll have to search a discard option. Usually it'll be Hawk. Or if you have a Thunder Dragon Fusion in your hand, you'll just search Thunder Dragon, or vice versa. For this instance, you're just going to have the Hawk already, because you can get access through multiple different means. And you'll supposed to summon the Roar. The Solar will now trigger, summoning a random token. The important part's the Thunder, so you can link it off for some Summer Summoner. Like I said, you usually want this in the middle EMZ zone, so I will put the Summoner right here. Roar will then trigger to be able to summon a Thunder Dragon Dark from the deck. This will get you your first Colossus. You'll turn this into the Colossus. Dark will then trigger. Depending on what the rest of your hand is, you can search for Thunder Dragon Fusion. Or if you're going against Orchest and you have a Dark in your hand or a Matrix in your hand, you'll usually want to search Fusion. I search Fusion almost all the time because it guarantees that even if you don't need double Colossus, like against Salad or against Orchest, you can just end with the Titan, which is a big boy in his own. And your next turn we'll be able to banish this to Surge Duo, which will get you to extend next turn, usually into Boral Sword or something. I will go into this combo after I finish this one, because it requires basically the same game state. You'll turn the Solar into a Colossus, and then turn this into a Colossus. If you want to make Titan before you commit to your third Colossus, what you need to do is, before you make it, you activate your Thunder Dragon Fusion, turning your Colossus on the right or left, probably the one on the left, so that way it's not outed by Galatea, Dingir, or Long Yirsu. You return it to the deck with the 2 Thunders in your graveyard you need the least. I tend to leave Dark over the Roar because Roar, if it resolves, will summon, say, a Dark, and then if that Dark doesn't die, that doesn't do anything. It just gets bounced back to your hand and it's just a dead card in your hand, unless you have some sort of previous setup. So I'll usually return the Roar and the Hawk for Titan, usually in defense, because Orcus can just break through your board and then summon a Boral Sword into this, and then they just Boral Sword this, and then you die. So, or if you get your opponents going against like something, or if you're playing against something more rogue, the Boral Load will just take it, and then you can beat over stuff, or they can beat over stuff. Then you simply just turn this into Colossus, and you have your Colossus double Colossus Titan board. Also pretty standard for the archetype. In most situations, is just Colossus Titan. This is the optimal board against the Mirror. This is really good against Orcust. It's pretty good against Salad. Striker, you usually want to just go for triple Colossus, because in that way they have to open 3 outs without searching. So like they have to open triple Imperm, double Imperm, Widow Anchor, or something like that. So for the next basic combo, it's kind of similar, except you won't be able to end with the rather large board. You'll just end with something a little bit more consistent. So the other combo I'd like to go over is Instant Fusion and a Roar. This does something similar, except this one loses to Lancia. One of the reasons why I cut down on Instant Fusion in the deck list, which is, by the way, the same deck list I posted to the channel a few weeks back. Yeah, I know it's been a while. Don't yell at me. Because this hand loses to Instant Fusion or to Lancia. If your opponent sees your Summoning Kaminari, they know you're probably going to continue into a Roar in hand. Or if you don't have Solar, the board is just basically just your normal summoning a 24 beater that floats. So it's not really good enough. Anyway, for the basic combo, you activate the Instant Fusion, Summoning Kaminari attack in the middle, or in the leftmost EMZ. You then banish the Kaminari and the Roar from your hand to summon Titan. The effect of Roar will now be able to trigger to summon a Dark from your deck. You now link these two off for some Summer Summoner. Dark will then be able to trigger to search a Thunder Dragon card. I usually search Hawk because I've not gotten a discard fodder yet, but if you have the extender in your hand, like say a Thunder Dragon or a Fusion in hand, you might just search Thunder Dragon or the Fusion. But for this case, since we only have the two cards for this example, we're just going to search the Hawk. We already have the Dark in the grave, so I'm going to go ahead and just summon back the Roar. We can then turn this Roar into a Colossus. Its effect won't be able to trigger because we've already used it. And then we turn the Summoner into the third or the second Colossus. Rather basic, but it's really effective. 2-card combo gets you 2 Colossus, so pretty good. Before I move on to the basic combo, and honestly, in my opinion, the least optimal combo with for Aloof Lupine, I want to go over the Solar plus Roar play. It ends very similarly to the Hawk plus Solar play, except the Hawk won't be able to revive the Roar and still get its effect because you had to use it to get to the Hawk. But it will end the same way as the Instant Fusion Roar play. Except it just operates a bit differently and does not lose to Lancia. So what you do here, you normal summon Solar in the leftmost EMZ column. You then send the Hawk from your deck to the graveyard. You then activate the effective Roar in hand, pitching it to add back Hawk. Then you activate the Hawk to special back the Roar. Solar will then trigger, summoning a token. You then link off the token and the Roar for some Summer Summoner. You discarded Hawk and Roar to activate effects, so you can make Colossus, so you turn the Solar into a Colossus, and then turn the Summoner into your second Colossus. Pretty basic, but if you have any extender, this combo is really nice because if you have Thunder Dragon Fusion, before you commit to the Solar and a Colossus play, you can make Titan, or you can just make, if you have Thunder Dragon as well as Thunder Dragon Fusion, you can also just make the third Colossus. Or, if you have Gold Sark, you can extend in other ways. So, yeah. So, the last basic combo I want to go over before I go into the test hands is the Aloof Lupine play. Now, in my opinion, Aloof Lupine is rather subpar because it only gets you a guaranteed 1 Colossus, but that's only before we get the new Sheep link, which, if you guys wish, I will post that after I have received a copy of the card in real life. But that play basically ends with the Sheep link and then pointing to Colossus, in which point I might replace this, or might replace Solar with this because this is more consistent. But at this point, Solar is just, in my opinion, much better. So you normal summon the Aloof, and then in the leftmost EMZ, like I said, you want to keep this one specifically in the EMZ, not just because of Orchest, but because this is really bad in any extra monster zone. Because this is a beast, not a Thunder, so you can't turn this into Colossus. So you want to keep it out of those zones, so you keep them open for future plays, depending on what the rest of your hand is. So for this one, I have a Roar in hand. This also works the same way if you have a Dark. And if you know what your opponent's going or has in hand, like if you know they have an Ash, or if you're going first and you want to play around the Ash, if you have some sort of Dark in hand, you can banish this and a Matrix. Chainlink 1, the effect you want to resolve, and then Chainlink 2 Matrix. Your opponent's is less likely to Ash the Matrix, or they're not able to Ash the Roar or the Dark because you're chain blocking them. For this situation, though, we're just going to banish Roar and Dark. You want to go Chainlink 1 Dark, Chainlink 2 Roar. Dark is going to guarantee Colossus that is immune to most hand traps, because unless your opponent runs Bell, they're not going to be able to stop it, because the Roar will chain block the Dark, which means you'll get access to the Hawk really easily. So Chainlink 1 Dark, Chainlink 2 Roar. If your opponent is likely to Ash the Roar, but in that case, the Roar is not super necessary. But in this case, we'll let it just go happen. So we'll search Hawk, and then the Matrix will be summoned off of the Aloof Lupine. Or excuse me, will be summoned off the Roar. You will then activate the Hawk, turning on your access to Colossus. And like I said, I prefer Dark in my graveyard over Roar, so I'm going to summon the Dark. I will then link 2 into Beat Cop, which is my preferred link 2 over Landphalangus, Lambda, or anything else, because I don't prefer Gamma in this deck, and Landphalangus is just a vanilla, which the only utility that actually has is that it can't be taken with a Widow Anchor, which is nice, but that's not really good enough. We will then turn the Matrix into Colossus, and then Matrix will trigger, searching a copy of itself. It's here somewhere. I promise I went through. There it is. At this point, before you commit to any further plays, you want to analyze your hand and then see what's in it. So if you have a Thunder Dragon Fusion, you now have a Matrix in hand, which means you could turn on Titan really easily on your opponent's turn. You'll usually shuffle back Hawk, Roar, and Matrix, keeping the Dark in your graveyard so you have access to it to protect stuff. And then the Fusion will be engraved, so you'll have Aloof Lupine Fusion to protect the Titan, and the Dark will be able to protect Colossus. If you do not have any extenders like that, you just use the effect of Beat Cop, targeting Colossus. It now has a counter on it, so the first time it be blown up, it's not... that comes up fairly rarely, and you'd rather put the counter on Titan because it protects it from battle as well, so you don't have to worry about it being Boral Sorted over, which is nice. Anyway, those are the bare bones combos. Like I said, I don't main Aloof Lupine in any of my builds just because I think Solar is just better at this point, and more combolicious, and synergizes better with Duo, and is nice to actually be able to surge late game, because Fusion, or if you have like a Duo in hand, you can effect a Fusion, search Solar. Solar will set up the Duo with a piece if you need it to, and then you can just summon Duo for easy good times. So let's just do some basic turn 1 plays, or turn 1 hands. Desires, Hawk, Solar. Oh, there we go. That's busted right there. Allure of Darkness. We've already seen what this combo does. These will just get you to more extenders, and this allows you to play on your opponent's turn, so we're not going to play out this hand. But that is a very good hand. Let's see what else we can draw. We have Monster Reborn, Solar. That's combo right there. Ash, Allure of Darkness, and a Ghost Ogre. Like I said, this is interchangeable with the Hawk, so this is basically the same thing, except you won't have a Fusion access. So I'll show you how that works. So you'll normal summon Solar and activates effect. You'll proceed with the combo until you've gotten to the point where you're turning your Dark into a Colossus. You'll Reborn, target Roar, Special Roar, trigger Solar with its mandatory effect, summoning a token. Then you link the 2 off, summoning some Summer Summoner. And then the Roar will trigger, summoning the Dark from the deck. At this point, you will turn this into Colossus. You will not be turning this into Colossus. At this point, you have to extend using your second your second Summoner. Turning it into the second Summoner. Dark's effect will then trigger, searching Hawk. Like I said, you do not have access to any other cards. At least with this hand, you do not have access to anything else. It is possible to extend, but I would, considering I have 2 hand traps in my hand, I'm not going to blind Allure. So we're just going to search the Hawk off the Dark. Activate Hawk, Special Dark. Then you just turn this into all the same stuff. You got Colossus, then turn this into Colossus. This is an excellent example of how this deck can actually adapt depending on what its hand is to do really good combos. So yeah, the last thing I'm going to do one last test hand before I wrap this up, and then I will give you guys my send-off. Let's make sure we put all the cards back in the main deck, Bryce, because we are good at making content. We have Pot of Desires, Dark, DD Crow, Instant Fusion, Pot of Desires. Okay, this hand can be either very good or very bad. So this is a Titan on its own. And you can extend this into making a single Colossus, and I'll show you how in a bit. You unfortunately cannot use Kaminari attack to make Colossus, because Colossus requires a effect monster, so you can't just pitch Dark to search and then instant fusion for Kaminari, then make Colossus. Sorry, my kittens just woke up. Anyway, so let's see what this hand does, or what these desires get us before we commit to the instant fusion. We'll go desires, banishing 3, 6, 9, 10. Yes, I do it this way. I hate doing it 5 at a time. We will draw 2 cards, Thunder Dragon Fusion, and Hawk. This is a really good draw. The Fusion is also really nice. Let's see what we banished. If we banished no Thunder Dragons, then this hand is insane. Oh, excellent. We didn't banish any OG Thunder Dragons. So, what we will do now is we will go Instant Fusion into Kaminari. Then we will go Banish for Titan. Dark's effect will then trigger Searching Thunder Dragon. And at this point, if you're going second, you get to blow up just 3 cards for free, which is really excellent. You'll go Thunder Dragon, pop a card, then Thunder Dragon, pop another card, then Thunder Dragon won't be added to your hand. You can then go Thunder Dragon Hawk, specialing back the Dark, popping another card. You can then link 2 into some Summer Summoner, activate Thunder Dragon Fusion. At this point, depending if you're going first, you will just return the Thunder Dragons to make Colossus, or you can return any of the other pieces you don't want in your grave. Like I'd probably return the Titan and a Thunder Dragon just to make Colossus, because the 1 extra protection is not going to matter when you have a Dark in the graveyard, a Hawk in the graveyard, and you're going to have another Thunder Dragon in the graveyard to begin with anyway. So now we pitch the Thunder Dragon for the last one we just returned back to the deck. Then we turn this into Colossus. We now have a Thunder Dragon hand, a Pot of Desires for next turn, a DD Crow, and we have a Thunder Dragon Fusion in graveyard. Especially after Nibiru, it is really important to keep this somewhere in your graveyard or have access to Duo immediately. If you get Nibiru, you can then use its effect, banish, or you can use Duo to summon it, and then if you've not committed to 3 Colossus, or if you made Titan, you can just keep Colossus on board, so to hopefully not die. Anyway, that's the very basics. If you guys have any more questions, or if you'd like me to do any more test hands on a separate video, I will do so, but only if we get enough requests. Like I said, guys, I am hoping to do more content in the near future. I hate having to just put it off because I have a ton of other stuff coming up. If you guys wish, I'll actually even post a picture of my 2 new kittens on the Facebook page after I post this video. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys later. Peace.